Hello, students. Good morning to all of you. I hope you will be fine at home. I welcome you all in this lecture of unit number 4. I, Rashesh Saxena, working as assistant professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering. Again, welcome you in this lecture. So, today we are going to start the new topic, that is characteristics of DC generators. Now, before this, basically, the electrical machine 1 is the subject in which we will study basically, and we have studied and we will study the machines. Machines means there are two types of machine in electrical machine. Basically, one is the rotating machine, another one is the non-rotating machine. If I am talking about the rotating machine, means motor and generator, and if I am talking about non-rotating machine, that is transformer. So if I am talking about the rotating machine, so they are of two types. One which convert electrical power into the mechanical power, and another one is the mechanical to electrical power. So if I'm talking about the motor, so motor do basically what? In input it takes electrical and give you output in the form of mechanical. And if I'm talking about the generator, so it take mechanical in the input and gives output in the form of electrical. So we can say the machine's construction is same, working is different, and the principles are also different. So uh, that is comes in the category of rotating electric machine. Now, if I am talking about the non-rotating electric machine, that is a transformer. And transformer is an electromagnetic static device which is used to transfer the energy from one circuit to another circuit without changing its frequency. Means that is basically a component in which the frequency doesn't change, but it transfers the energy from one circuit to another, changing its voltage level and current level, not its frequency. I hope you understand. Now, if I'm talking about this machine, so the basic concept is machine arises from the coupling circuit. The coupling circuit is basically the mediator circuit or the intermediate circuit. Intermediate or mediator means I'm talking about the basically the coupling circuit. That coupling circuit is basically a magnetic circuit or a magnetic field. So we want to generate magnetic field because if we vary the magnetic field, we can create or generate or produce or induce an EMF. That is the law which is given by Faraday. So if we follow the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction, so I need or you need, or basically we are in a need, in a demand of magnetic field. So magnetic field can be introduced by two ways, by two methods. One is the permanent magnet, another one is the electro. Though if I'm talking about the permanent magnet, the permanent magnet always persists a magnetic field whenever you want, whenever you require, whenever you are in a need, whenever you demand, you find a magnetic field there. Okay, so the permanent magnet always persists a magnetic field. But if I'm talking about the electromagnets, the electromagnets totally depend on the current which is flow through it, which is flow in that winding coil or whatever. So the electromagnet having the magnetic field when current flow from it. Okay, then if I'm talking about the permanent magnet, so permanent magnet always having a magnetic field when basically when you apply, means whenever you want to do, you can find attraction repulsion force in that magnetic field. Attract opposite pole attracting, we can say opposite pole repulsive or repelling, we can say. So repulsion or attraction force are there, always you find. But in electromagnets, we can create, generate, produce, or induce electromagnetic effect, or we can say the magnetic field, by the help of Biot and Savart, which state that whenever the current flow in a coil, then after flowing that current in a coil, at the surround of that coil, we find a magnetic field. So that magnetic field denotes the magnetic field, but it is known as electromagnetic field or electromagnets we are making. So electromagnets we can make by using a winding, and if I'm using a winding, though I have to wound that winding on a core. That core is made up of the ferromagnetic material. And what are the ferromagnetic materials? Basically iron, nickel, cobalt, steel sheets, and alloy of metals. So we can say, if I'm talking about the electromagnets. So electromagnets we can make easily by the help of current flowing in a coil. That current meet with the turn of that coil. That turns meet with the basically the current meet with the turn of that coil means ampere turn. Ampere is the current, and basically number of turns is denoted by n. So ampere turns we having the mmf, and ampere turns is basically what we are getting when current is flowing, then we can say it is ampere, and turns always represent as a n. So ampere turn, that is ni, divided by the reluctance of that core or ferromagnetic material which we are using to make an electromagnet. So that reluctance is the property of magnetic material which opposes the creation of force. So that reluctance and that mmf, basically Ni denotes the mmf, basically mmf and reluctance denotes the flux creation. So that flux we use. Why we use? Because if we vary the flux, we can introduce an EMF, and if we place a current connector between that flux, it experiences a force. So that is electromagnetic interaction or electromagnetic induction. So both principles we use in the motor and generator. Okay, so that is why the magnetic circuit and the magnetic field is very important. So how can I denote a magnetic field? If I am founding a flux lines, it represents the current lines in the analogy between the electrical field. So I am having a mmf, then flux, and if flux is there, then we having the flux density. Flux density is denoted by the B. B is basically the ratio of flux to the area, that is Weber per meter square. Then we having the intensity. Intensity is basically expressed by the mmf per length, that is Ni by ampere turn by meter, we can see. So intensity and density have a relation between the proportionality constant, that is mu. Mu is the permeability, or we can say the measurement of the magnetic property in the magnetic field or magnetic circuit, we can say. So I hope you understand this thing, that what are the magnetic field. And if I'm talking about the magnetic circuit, though in magnetic circuit we having what? We having basically two types, series and parallel. So similar to that, our electrical circuit in series, the current remains same, but voltage divides. But if I am talking about the parallel, the voltage remains same, current divides. So similar to that in series or parallel magnetic field, in series magnetic field, the flux remains same. But in parallel magnetic field, the flux varies, differentiate, divided. Okay. So I hope you understand this thing. Now, this is about the unit number one. Now, if I'm talking about the unit number two, so there are so many laws which we have studied in the unit number one: Biot-Savart law, Ampere law, then Force law. Force law basically tells you that whenever there is a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. So, how the force occurs? When the velocity of the charges and the B, that is magnetic field, perpendicular to the force, then we can say the force is applied. Okay, then we can say that is a Lorentz force applied, BIL, that is. Okay, and due to this force we can get a torque that comes in the basically which law? Force law. So I hope you understand about the force law. Then we having the Ampere circuital law. Okay, then we having the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction that tells you whenever there is a change in flux linkage, then there will be an induction of an EMF known as induced EMF. If it is a closed, then current will flow. That current is known as induced current. Okay, understand? I think so. Then we having that is the basically first part of that law. Second part is tell you that states you that the magnitude of induced EMF is proportional to the flux linkage variation, that is E is equals to n d phi by dt, and we use the Lenz law, then we can write E is equals to minus n d phi by dt. I hope you understand. Now the unit number two, we are going to study about the we have studied basically in my previous series of lectures, that if current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field, it experiences a force, and if force is applying, then it basically changes from its initial position. If it is changes from its initial position, means, my dear student, the displacement takes place, the displacement occurs. If a displacement occur, means what? Force is applying, displacement is here. So the F cross D, the force into displacement, is always equal to the torque, and torque will give you the speed, revolution, rotation. So we have the torque. So when force is applying, then we are getting the torque. That we have understood. So torque can be count as an open loop, can be count as a closed loop, like in motor and generator. So we have discussed all these things in the unit number two. Now in unit number 3, the previous unit of this one, basically that deals with the DC machines. So DC machines fundamentals are of two type. One is the motor, another one is the generator. If current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field, it experiences a force and start rotating. That is the motor action. And if we give input mechanical, it means that means we are rotating the coil in a magnetic field. Though what happens, that rotating coil cuts the magnetic field and induces an EMF. That is the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. So these are the two fundamentals: the motor and the generator. If I am talking about the motor and generator, my dear students, so motor is basically the device which used to convert electrical, that is power, voltage, energy. Okay, we have current and converted into the or transfer changes into the torque, speed, rotation, revolution. So that is motor. In generator, the input is in the form of torque, speed, rotation, revolution, and we are getting output in the form of electric power, energy, voltage, and current. So that is the generating. Basically, what generating action. So we having two actions, motoring and generating. So we having two principles. If we are, I'm talking about the generator action, though we having a principle, Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. Now if I'm talking about the motor action, then the basic principle is electromagnetic induction. Though we use direction law, for generator we use framing right hand rule, movement of the conductor in a magnetic field induced. In a motor, that is opposite left hand rule, motion of the conductor induce EMF in a magnetic field. So directions are opposite. So we can say the EMF generated in the generator, same EMF generated in the motor, but the direction opposes. That is why it is known as back EMF in the motor. And why we need of it? Because we want to create torque with the help of that back EMF. I hope you understand. So this is the basic. Then we having the construction. In construction, we having the yoke. Then we having the field, pole, pole core, pole shoe, pole windings, we can say pole coils. Then we having the rotating part. Field is the stationary part. The rotating part is armature. We having the armature core, armature slots, armature conductors means armature windings are of two types, lap and wave, and feed windings of one type, that is forward wound. In lap, we can say we connect the winding in the parallel, means current is maximum, voltage is lower. And in wave, we do what? We connect in a series. So current is less, but voltage is higher. So we can use both of the machines in the both applications. So we use in the automobile. Now, if I'm talking about the generator, my dear student, do it become obsolete because we are not using generator nowadays. If I want a DC, I can purchase a battery from the market. If I want, I need a high voltage rating of DC, so I use rectifiers that will convert to 20 voltage of AC into 20 voltage of DC instead of 12 volt battery. If I am using 12 volt, I am a 12 volt battery and can create 240 volt. What I need 20 batteries, so it costs me a lot. Instead of this, what we can do, we directly convert AC into DC by the help of rectifier. So generators use are obsolete nowadays, but motor we are using still in automobile, in cranes, in hoist, in printing presses, so many places we can say where we need a mechanical power output. Then there are we are using the motor. So understand about the construction. Same construction we have. Then armature windings. Then we having the commutator. That is a very important part which segregate or separate or divide or basically classified AC machines separately to the DC machines. Because in AC machine we doesn't have commutator. Because in AC machines we want output in the form of AC. But if I'm talking about DC machine, the output would be, should be in the form of direct current. So what I want, bidirectional to direct unidirectional conversion. Though for this I need a equipment, instrument, component, element that is known as commutator. So commutator is a very important part in DC machine. We don't have commutator in DC machines. Okay. In commutator, we apply the process of commutation uh, by reversing, basically the reversing of the current. So we want to increase the reversal of current, otherwise the sparking take place. The brushes will burn out. So instead of using copper brushes, we use carbon or graphite for higher resistance. So for cheaper cost, we use carbon brushes. That is the first part, how to improve the computation. Second is the interpoles, co-poles. It is directly connected with the armature windings, but between the poles. That is known as co-poles and interpoles. Okay, understand? After commutator, we need brush because we want to flow that current from the commutator output to the terminals of motor or machine. Because we want to give output in the form of electrical energy, so we need a input in the form of electrical. So the commutator brush arrangement is very necessary in DC. Commutator converts AC into DC by direction to induction, then brushes carries the current from commutator output and transfer it to the terminals. So that is we can say very necessary point. Then we having the bearings. With the help of bearings, the shaft rotate. The shaft is a rod on which the rotor mounted. So these are the very important construction parts. Then we having the types of winding, as I earlier told you. In field winding we use former wound, and in armature we use lap and wave wound. Then armature reactions. It is a very important. Now armature reaction is basically armature flux distort the main flux, cross magnetize and demagnetize. Okay. So how can we reduce this thing? By using interpoles again and compensating winding. We discussed so many things before this, but now we are moving forward. That is why I'm revising this thing. Then we understand, or basically studied about the losses. There are three different losses. First is the copper loss, I square R, both in field and armature. Then we have the magnetic iron or core losses, that is of two type, eddy current and hysteresis. Okay. Then we having the we can say that is the second law. Second loss. Then we having the third law, that is mechanical losses. That is the brush loss, friction losses, and windage loss. So these all losses are same in the motor and in the generator. We can say. Okay. So if anyone asks you the generator, how can we eliminate the losses? Though for this we basically laminated the code. Through this we can reduce the eddy current loss. Through this we can do what? We can reduce the eddy current loss. And if I am making a proper cross section, that we can basically reduce the hysteresis loss. And silicon contained steel, silicon of 5 to 7% in steel basically sheet of steel. Okay, I hope you understand. Then we have studied about the DC machine motoring and generation. Motoring and generation means motor and generator. Now, if I'm talking about the generator, though we having the types of generators. The types of generator are based on two things: excitation. Excitation means how can we generate, create, induce, or produce flux in a machine, because we want to make electromagnets. So we want to produce the excite the winding to give or to produce, to develop, or to induce a flux. So that is known as excitation. So on the basis of excitation, we have two types. One is the separately a separate battery or DC source. Self due to residual magnetism. In self, we having three types. Connected field winding are with the armature in series one. Connected, we can say the field winding with the shunt in the parallel to the armature winding, that is shunt one. And we make connections of these two. Then we have in the compound. Okay, in compound one we having long shunt and short shunt, competitively and differential. So these are the basically we can say the types of excitation, types of generators. Similar to that, we having the types of DC. But if we are talking about these different types, so we having the different armature equations. Vt is equals to Eb plus IRA, and Vt is equals to Eb minus IRA for motor and generator actions. We having different equations, voltage equations. But for different types, we having different equation. Because if I am using shunt, then we have to add the shunt and we can say the load resistance is equals to armature. Or we can say the current which is flowing in the shunt resistance, or we can say the ISH, and IL is the load current. So IA will be the equal to IL plus ISH. Series we doesn't have this. So these are the different conditions or types we have. So the topic which we are covered today is basically the characteristics of DC generators. Now, if I am talking about the my dear students characteristics of DC generators, it means we are going to study the different type generators with their characteristics. Means different characteristic of different type generators, because we are having two type generators in total in calculation, self and separately. In self, we having three types: series, shunt, and compound. In compound, we having two types: long shunt and short shunt. Okay, so these are the basic things we have to go through it. Okay, now moving forward. Now moving forward, we having the basically what we want. Basically, electrical machine one is the subject name. Then code is EE205. Unit we having the fourth topic which we are going to cover it, that is characteristic of DC generators. Okay, so if I am delivering this lecture to you, my dear students, so there is a basic concept for me, is basically what I want to do. What have the students to understand about the fundamentals of DC machine. Now, my basic concept or basic why I am delivering this lecture, I am delivering this lecture to you, my dear students, for understanding about the fundamentals of DC machines again. Because if I am not understanding the fundamentals of DC machine, so I can't go further. If I don't know that how to ride a bike, then why I'm riding a bike? I have a no license to ride that bike. I have a no license to drive a car. Then why I'm driving or riding a car, driving a car or riding a bike? I just shouldn't. I should have a knowledge of it. I should know that how to change the gear in a car, how to use accelerator in a bike, in a we can say vehicle. So the main thing is to know the about fundamentals or basics of DC machines. Okay. Now second, which we are going to cover in it, that is the basic fundamental. Basically, what we want to do, basically, that is our basic fundamental, is to make student familiar with the DC generators. We can say make student familiar with the different characteristic of DC generators in detail. Basically, it means what? Different types of generator, then different characteristics we have. So different type of generator having different types of characteristics we are going to study later on in this lecture. Understand also, and I want to make familiar with that, because if you don't know which type and what characteristics we have, then we can't understand this thing. Now moving forward, again DC current, the direct current machine fundamentals we have. A generator action tells you an EMF voltage is induced in a conductor if it moves through a magnetic field. If it moves through a what? Magnetic field. Okay, that means the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. Motor action, if I am talking about, the motor action is a force is induced in a conductor that has a current going through it and plays in a magnetic field. So whenever there is a current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. That is your motoring action. And due to this force, the torque will take place and it will start rotating. So that is the motor action. So any DC machine can act either as a generator or motor. At a student, construction is same, types are also same, but the rotation, we can say, in generator we are giving mechanical input. So I am going to rotate as per my desire, as per my need, as per my requirement, what I want. So I rotate in the clockwise direction in generator. But in motor, we doesn't give any mechanical input. So in that motor, the rotor or armature rotates in a anti-clockwise direction. So in generator, clockwise direction; in motor, anti-clockwise direction. That is why the laws are different. This is for generator, this is for motor. So that is why the direction laws are different. Flaming right hand rule for generator, Flaming left hand rule for motor. But the construction is same. Construction parts are same. Same yoke, same field pole, pole core, pole shoe, pole winding, armature core, armature slots, armature conductors, commutator, brush, shaft, bearings. All these are same. So we can say we using a machine, but we can convert into the my desired. Means if I am giving electrical input that machine, though we are getting mechanical output, that is the action of motor. Now I am giving mechanical in the input that machine and taking electrical output, that means we are working, or that machine is working like a generator. So motor and generator actions both. So we can say the DC machine can act either as a generator or as a motor. So as a motoring action or as a generating action, construction is same, but the types are different. this is the fundamental. Now methods of excitation. Now my dear student, if I am talking about the methods of excitation, it means separately excited machine. Basically, the separately excited machine, field flux is produced by an external source. Means I am using a battery there. With the help of battery, I am giving supply to the field. If I am giving the supply to the field, it means that current meet with the turn of that coil, ampere turn take place. And if I am flowing that flux in a core of the field, though it's having the reluctance. So flux, or we can say the mmf per reluctance, we are getting the flux. Okay, so the field flux produced by an external source, that is battery, that is DC, or doing what with the help of battery. I hope you understand this thing. Now, self-excited machine. Now, if I'm talking about the self-excited machine, those self-excited machines are basically the field flux is produced by the connecting the field winding with the armature. So directly I am connecting, or basically while manufacturing this type of machine, we directly connect the field winding with the armature in the form of series, or in the form of parallel, or in the form of combined, long and short shunt both, commutatively, and we can say what commutatively we have, okay, types of this. Now a self-excited machine requires residual magnetism for operation. Now residual magnetism is basically what, my dear student? Now residual magnetism is what? Residual magnetism is basically, we can say, a remaining magnetic field, or remaining flux in a magnetic field. So that remaining flux we can use and convert into the EMF by the help of Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction, and then we use it. Okay. Now the types of generator, as we have already studied this thing, but now I'm revising again because we are going to study the characteristic of these types, different types of generators. Okay. Now the field coils excited by permanent magnets. Now the field coils are excited by the permanent magnet. That is the first type, permanent magnet DC generator. That is the first type. So we can say categorize in the three different categories. First is the permanent magnet, in which we are using permanent magnet instead of electromagnets. Means we are not making the magnet, it is already having the magnetic field, persists the magnetic field. Okay, so field coils excited by the permanent magnet is this shown here. We are using permanent magnet, and it is a rotor armature, and these are the brushes which carries the current. Okay, so field coils excited by some external source, separately excited DC generator, means we are using a battery or a separate DC source for the excitation of the field winding, that it comes in the category of separately excited DC generators. Okay, now the field coils excited by the generator itself, that means residual magnetism, that is known as self-excited DC generators. What they known for? They known for separately excited DC generators. Now here it is shown by the permanent magnet DC generator. Here it is a separately excited DC generator. Now in this we having the armature, and it is connected with the load, and here we having the field. So we give the supply, current meet with the turns of this coil, N into I mmf by the reluctance, flux, that flux cut by the armature while we rotating it by the we can say the magnetic input or prime mover, that the armature cut the flux, induce EMF that carries the current in the armature conductor, and with the help of commutator and brush, these showing the brushes, and through this brushes the current flowing to the load, what we want. That is the separately excited DC generator. Now if I'm talking about the self-excited DC generators, so according to the position of the field coils, we can say, according to the position of the field coils, the self-excited DC generators may be classified as, according to the position of the field coils, the self-excited DC generators may be classified as, first, connecting field winding series with the armature winding, so it is series wound generators. Connecting that field winding parallel or shunt to the armature winding, that known as shunt wound generators. Okay, connecting both means series and shunt, then we called as compound wound generators. And compound wound generators are of two types, commutatively or differential, means long shunt and short shunt. So these are the types, or they classified into different categories. In shunt, we basically connect parallel to the winding parallel to the armature. Okay, but if I'm talking about the series, it is connected in series, and compound is the combination of series and shunt. Now, series wound and shunt wound. Now, see here. Now, what happens? Basically, how can we understand? My dear student, there will be some remaining flux in it, known as residual flux. That residual flux cut by the armature, induce EMF, and through this, we having the current. That current flows through the series field, again energize it, excited again the, for example, I have in a zero point 0.4 Weber flux in it. Now, after cutting the flux, that one, we are getting the current voltage of 2 volt. So 2 plus 0.04, or we can say zero point 0.4, 2.04 or 2.4 flux I am getting again, Weber flux. Then if I'll cut, then I am getting again. So it is increasing, increase. But the thing is that we use thick wire and few turns. So resistance is less, current is higher. Current capacity is higher, but resistance capacity is lower. Okay, now in this, in shunt, what we are going to do, some remaining field cut by the armature, that magnetic flux line, induce EMF. That induced EMF having the current, because it is a closed path, through brushes, that positive negative brushes we are having. Through this, the current divides into two parts, one going to the load, another one going to the field, shunt field. Again energize it, again inducing the flux in it. But the main thing is that it having the large number of turns of thin wire. Series field is of thick wire, but shunt field is of thin wire, having the huge large number of turns. Why we having the large number of turns? Because if I am talking about the large number of turns means resistance is higher, so it is basically not waste the current more. Okay, I hope you understand about the series and shunt. So this is about the series and this is about the shunt. Now moving forward, compound wound. Now see here. In compound wound, basically we having the short shunt and the long shunt. In this, the shunt is very small, or you can say short, connected parallelly like this with the armature, and series in this manner. So here we having the node, current divides. But see here the current divides having the long shunt. You can also divide like this. This is your commutatively compound. This is the commutatively compound, short shunt. But this is denoted as a differential compound, a long shunt. So we having the two types more. In compound, we having the two types, long shunt and short shunt, differential compound and commutatively compound respectively. So we can say we having two more types in a compound, that is the combination of series and shunt. Characteristics of separately excited DC generator. Now first is the no load characteristic, we can say open circuit characteristic or magnetic characteristic, known as the curve which gives the relation between current, field current, that is IF, and the generated voltage, that is E0 at the terminal in the armature on no load, is called open circuit characteristic. Means in separately excited generator, I am giving supply to the field, okay, that is the field current. Through this, we are getting the EMF induced in the armature, that is the open, we can say no load armature EMF or armature induced voltage at no load, because there is no load connected. So it is also called as no load characteristic or open circuit characteristic. So we are drawing a characteristic between IF and E0. So the plot of this curve is practically same for all type of generators, whether they are separately excited or self-excited. So this characteristic is same for all separately excited and series wound, shunt wound, compound, differential or commutative. We having same characteristic. Now this curve is also known as no load saturation characteristic curve of DC generator. Now see here. On the y-axis, we are plotting the E0, that is induced armature voltage, and on the x-axis, we are plotting the, we are taking as a field current. So see here, at various speed, we are having the different curves. In this N1, it is less than 2, N2 is less than 2, N3. So in N1, we are having the flux linearly linear, then some sliding. In N2, we are having the higher value. After this, we are having the sliding. Now after this, we are having the sliding. This shows the increase in the speed. So we can say N3 is greater than N2 is greater than N1. This is the magnetic or open circuit characteristic, which is drawing between, or basically we are having two coordinates. One is the no load voltage generated in armature, another one is the field current, and we are making this for identifying the no load saturation characteristic or we can say magnetic characteristic or open circuit characteristic. Now move forward, other characteristic. When the generator is loaded, then the voltage drop due to two main reasons. There are two main reasons, my dear student. First is the armature reaction. I already told you that what is armature reaction. Armature reaction basically is the flux of armature, which basically distort or demagnetize or cross magnetize the main flux. Means changes its value. So if changes the value, then induced EMF is also varies, changes, drop there will be. So we can say due to armature reaction. Another one is the ohmic drop, that is IARE, due to resistance, wastage of power. Now internal characteristics. The internal characteristics of separately excited DC generator is obtained by subtracting the drop due to armature reaction from no load voltage. It is EG/VS if curve. It is basically EG versus IF curve. We can see the EG is the generated EMF and IF is the field current. So we can say in no load we having E0 and IF. Here we are basically subtracting the drops due to armature reaction from the no load voltage. We can convert it into EG versus IF. Now another one is the external characteristic. Now external characteristics of the separately excited DC generator is obtained by subtracting the drop due to ohmic loss. Due to ohmic loss, that is IARA, the armature from generated voltage EG. EG is basically what? The generated EMF in a armature. So that is your EG. So we can write the terminal voltage in generator EG minus IARA. But in motor we write VT is equals to EB plus IARA. So we can calculate the internal characteristic by subtracting the armature reaction drop from the no load characteristic. And if I'm talking about the external characteristic, that is subtracting the drop due to ohmic drop from the no load or magnetic characteristic. Now the curve shows you internal and external characteristic. Now see here, this is the E0 voltage and IL current or load current field. Now this is the generated voltage and we having the drop and we having the terminal voltage. Now see here, in armature reaction drop there is a drop, so we having a drop in characteristic. The straight line we are getting, but due to drop we are getting some slope in it, like this. It is a straight, now it is a slope. That shows you the internal characteristic. That's showing you the what? Internal characteristic. But here the maximum drop due to the ohmic voltage drop, IARA. Now we having the drop in characteristic. See, the main characteristic is no load characteristic. We having this thing, but after this, the armature reaction drop, we having certain, we can say slope in the winding, certain drop in the winding. But due to ohmic voltage drop, we having the higher drop. So the first due to armature reaction, it is the internal characteristic. But due to the ohmic voltage drop, it is the external characteristic. So that characteristic is showing you the internal external characteristic curve. So three characteristics are here. First is the E0 versus IF. Another one is the EG versus IF, EG versus IL. We can say EG versus IL. But in the first characteristic, we are not considering armature reaction drop and voltage drop. But in second, that is internal, we are considering or subtracting the armature reaction drop. In external, we are subtracting again what? The ohmic drop. So we are getting the external characteristic. So this is your external or internal characteristic. Now curve for shunt wound basically. Now in this, the shunt wound will found the characteristic like this: no load voltage and magnetic or open circuit characteristic. Shunt wound, we can say about shunt wound. But if I am talking about the internal or external characteristic, this is our shunt wound. The previous characteristics for the separately excited. This is the basic thing. Separately excited means in which we are giving the we are connecting the separately external DC source. That is maybe in the form of battery. That is maybe in the form of battery, maybe in the form of rectifier output. So we can use the we can say that is the self-excited. In self-excited, we having the no load characteristic is like this. I hope you understand. The no load characteristic is like this. Okay, the no load characteristic is like this. But if I am talking about the thing, it is the open circuit characteristic. We can say that is known as open circuit characteristic or no load characteristic. But if I am talking about the internal characteristic, so in this we basically subtract the armature reaction drop. In external, we are subtracting the voltage drop. But if I am talking about the shunt, so it is different. we are having the linear, then dropping due to N3, N2, and N1. Again, if I am talking about the internal external characteristic, again dropping characteristic we have. See here, like this, like this. This is for the shunt wound generator. Now, this is the series characteristic of series wound generator. Now, if I'm talking about the E node and IF, we are getting the first one, that is your magnetic characteristic. See here, one I'm taking as. If I minus or subtract or difference, take a difference of armature reaction drop, then I getting the C point. C point is showing you what, my dear student? C point is showing you the internal characteristic, and the D, which we are getting by subtracting by basically wave of the armature field resistance drop, that is IA, IARA, IFRF, we can say whatever. So that we are basically reducing from it, subtracting from it. So I am getting the wave like the characteristic like this. So that is your no load characteristic. That is your basically the internal characteristic. That is your external characteristic. Now this is showing you the magnetic characteristic, internal characteristic, and external characteristic of series wound generator. Previous one is for the shunt wound, and this is for the separately excited. Separately excited again, shunt wound, and this is the series one. This is what the series one. Now, that is why series DC generator is called constant current DC generator. And for shunt wound load resistance of the machine must be maintained properly. We can say, if I am talking about the series DC generator, is always called constant current DC generator. For shunt wound load resistance of the machine must be maintained properly. Why is it so? See here. Now see. This is basically the separately excited. This one is the separately excited for you, my dear student. It's permanent magnet. This is all separately excited, in which I am using the separate or external battery source. We can say DC voltage source, or we can say what? We can say it is basically the DC input. So external DC. So external DC we can take from rectifier output, or we can take from the battery output. Okay, so here is the permanent magnet. No, we can say the external. In this we having the series. We are connecting these field winding in the series, so it will take the current from the armature directly. But if I am talking about the shunt, so it is connected in parallel or shunt to the armature. Parallel and shunt to the armature. Okay, so I hope you understand. This is the series field, this is the shunt field, and they are totally based on the phenomena of residual magnetism, remaining flux in a remaining magnetism, in a layman language or in a general. Okay, I hope you understand. Now moving forward, then we having the separately excited generators. In separately excited generators, we can say what? If I am talking about the separately excited DC generator, my dear student, then separately excited DC generator we have no type, but in we can say self-excited we having three types: series wound, shunt wound, and a compound wound. In compound wound, we having the combination of these two, series and shunt both. And in this, we are correcting long shunt, then it is called as differential. And another we having the short shunt, it is called as a commutatively compound. So we are having commutatively compound and differential compound. And on the basis of characteristic, though separately excited, we are having the first characteristic, that is no load characteristics. Basically E naught versus IF. Then we having the internal characteristic, external characteristic based on armature reaction drop and ohmic voltage drop of separately excited. This is showing you the separately excited, not self-excited. Next, we having the shunt wound, and this is the shunt wound magnetic characteristic. This is the internal external characteristic of shunt wound. This is whole I am combining with the series. This is constant. In series, we are having the straight line. Then the drop armature reaction drop, we are getting the C point. Then we are having the drop due to armature and field resistance, we are getting the D point. So this is the one is showing the internal, another one showing you the external, one is the magnetic characteristic. So we can say we are drawing the E naught versus IF, V versus IF, or IF, EG versus IF. I hope you understand. Now, That is why the series DC generator is called constant current DC generator. And for shunt wound, load resistance of the machine must be maintained properly. Because if I'm talking about the shunt wound, so there should be we have to maintain the constant basically load resistance of the machine maintained properly. Otherwise, we are not getting the output in a right manner. Now, some related multiple choice question with this topic or the previous topic which we have studied. So, armature characteristic is also known as regulation characteristic, magnetization characteristic, external characteristic, or load characteristic. The regulation characteristic is known by it. For a given DC generator, the external characteristic is plotted. Without using further plot, how can we obtain internal characteristics? By adding the IARA drop to the plot, by adding the armature reactions, by reducing IARA drop, all of the mentioned. So first we have seen the the armature reaction drop, then we can add IARA drop. Then when we can attain or obtain the external characteristic. I hope you understand. Okay, the option is E. Which winding contains wire higher thickness? Which winding contains wire with higher thickness? Wire with higher thick winding with few turns. I think so. It is series. So shunt field, series field, both have same number of turns depending on the requirement. The option is B. Option is B. Which winding have higher resistance? So maximum turns, thin winding. So that is shunt. So shunt field, series field, both have same number of turns depend on the requirement. So the option is A. That is shunt. In compound excitation, which winding is or are excited? Both, we can say. Shunt series, both cannot be determined. So the option is C. The air gap line represents magnetic behavior of the air gap of DC machine. The air gap line which we are getting in a drop. The magnetic behavior of the air gap of the induction machine. The magnetic behavior of the iron core, all of them mentioned. So what we are going to study? We are studying in the DC. So the option is E. The magnetic behavior of the air gap of the DC machine. Okay, I hope you understand. Now moving forward, which of the following characteristic reveal about the magnetization nature of the machine? No load characteristic, load characteristic, armature characteristic, both no load and load characteristics. So the option is T, both no load and load characteristic. Armature characteristic is known as the is written here, regulation characteristic. Now, choose the most inappropriate out of the following for the no load characteristic of the DC generator. It is the open circuit characteristic of DC machine of the machine. It is the magnetization characteristic of the DC machine. Okay, it is conducted on the unbalanced unloaded machine. None of them mentioned. So all the three are not corrected. So we can say none of them mentioned. Okay, it is not open circuit characteristic. Basically, the open no load characteristic we can say. The thing is that the external characteristic is plotted between a terminal voltage versus armature at constant excitation, terminal voltage versus field current at constant armature current, induced armature EMF versus armature current at constant excitation. None of them mentioned. So external characteristic is terminal voltage versus armature current at constant excitation. That is E. The generator is called flat compounded if the series field ampere turns are such as to produce the same voltage at the rated load. So option is A. Okay, so these all about the multiple choice question related to this topic. That is the different characteristic of DC generator, and these are the references from which I took some material to deliver this lecture. And you can just go through these books having the good content. Some books are of international author, that is A. Fitzgerald and Stephen J. Chapman. R.K. Srivastava is a very good book of Indian author. It contains a good content. You can just refer it. You can just read it. These all are available in the university library. So I hope you better understand about the today's topic. So thank you from my side for understanding this lecture. I hope you understand, and thank you, my dear student, for patiently listening this lecture. I hope you understand about this topic, the whole topic which I basically